Jesus calls out to her and invites her over. In this morning's narrative, Luke paints a picture of a crowded place and then goes on to invite us to focus in on one in that crowd. Not interestingly, by virtue of that person's importance, not like a TV camera would at a rugby game looking for a president or for a celebrity in the crowd, but rather the very opposite here is likely to have been true. You see, the fact that the woman goes unnamed is Luke's way of highlighting her insignificance and her isolation from the community gathered in the synagogue that day. Joined together in reading, in praying, in singing, they nevertheless had amongst them at least one who felt keenly the sting of loneliness, one who did not belong. Added to her isolation was the fact that she was not well and hadn't been well for a long time. In the last 10 years of his life, my father's back deteriorated to such an extent that it became a major strain for him just to look up, even for a moment. No matter how many massages we gave him, no matter how many lengths we did in the Westville swimming pool, or how many times he was chastised for poor posture, his back never really improved, but only slowly deteriorated. By the time he met Joanne, and that is a story for another time, his neck literally ran parallel to the floor. We are told that this lady had been bent over for almost double that amount of time. I learned from a scholar of Luke and Acts, who's also seated here this morning. That one's a little more obvious for you to guess who that is. That in the first century, the general understanding was that humans were distinguished from animals by being able to stand upright and having eyes that could look up and contemplate the world and the heavens, and as a consequence of that, realize the existence of a God and give thanks. And so Luke paints a picture of a woman who, while together with the community gathered in the synagogue, was isolated from them. She had carried the burden of ill health for nearly 2 decades, and her value was seen by a number in the synagogue to be of less significance than the animals that she resembled. And yet, out of all the people that were there that day, Jesus calls out to her and invites her over, touches her, unconcerned as he was throughout his life of being associated with those on the edges of society. And he heals her.